You are standing at the base of a machine that is taller than the Statue of Liberty, and in the next 15 minutes you are going to climb it. Somewhere at the top of this tower is a version of you making $250,000 a year, hanging off a blade 300 feet in the air, getting paid more per hour than most surgeons. But right now, at the bottom, you are broke, untrained, and terrified of heights. By the end of this video, you will understand why this is quietly becoming one of the fastest growing, highest paying blue-collar careers in the entire world. Level 1. You start with nothing but a hard hat and a harness you do not know how to use yet. This is technician training, and it is not what people picture. You are not climbing turbines in week 1. You are sitting in a classroom learning about high-voltage systems, hydraulics, and the physics of a spinning blade that can kill you in half a second if you get careless. Then they take you to a training tower, sometimes only 60 feet tall, and you clip into a harness for the first time. Your hands shake. Your legs shake. The instructor tells you that is normal, and that fear is what keeps you alive up here. You are making almost nothing at this stage, somewhere around $35,000 a year, sometimes less if you are still in an unpaid certification program. You are learning confined space rescue, because if your partner passes out inside a turbine hub, you are the one pulling them out. You are learning to climb a vertical ladder for 20 minutes straight with nothing but your own grip strength keeping you from a fall that would kill you instantly. Most people quit here. Not because the pay is bad, but because the fear never fully goes away, it just gets managed. There is one test in this program that washes out more recruits than anything else. They lower you into a mock hub with the lights cut and radio static in your ear, and they want to see if panic takes over. Some people freeze completely and never come back the next day, but you do not quit. You climb the training tower again and again until your hands stop shaking and something in you starts to feel less like fear and more like focus. Level 2. You pass certification. And now you are a real technician, but you're still the low man on every crew. This is the entry-level field technician stage, and your first solo climb inside an actual operating turbine is a memory you will never forget. The tower groans. The wind pushes against the structure and you can feel it sway, just slightly, just enough to remind you that you are 300 feet above a cornfield or an ocean with nothing but steel between you and the ground. Your pay jumps to somewhere between $45,000 and $55,000 a year, and now you are doing real maintenance, changing filters, greasing bearings, torquing bolts that are the size of your forearm. You are working in weather that would send most office workers home. Freezing rain, blistering heat trapped inside a metal nacelle that turns into an oven under direct sun. You learn to eat lunch balanced on a platform the size of a kitchen table, 300 feet in the sky, legs dangling over the edge because there is nowhere else to sit. Somewhere in this stretch you have your first real scare, a bolt that slips from your glove and disappears toward the ground, and for one full second you understand exactly how unforgiving this job can be if you get careless even once. This is the level where the job either becomes part of your identity or it breaks you completely. For you, it becomes part of who you are. Level 3. Now you are a field service technician, and this is where the job starts feeling less like survival and more like mastery. You know the machine now. You can hear a bearing that is about to fail before the sensors even flag it. You can diagnose an electrical fault from the sound of the gearbox alone. This is the level where companies stop treating you like a liability and start treating you like an asset they cannot afford to lose. You are pulling in around $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and you are traveling constantly. Sometimes living out of hotels for weeks at a time chasing turbine outages across 3 or 4 states. Storm season means overtime that can add tens of thousands of dollars to your paycheck in a single month. Because when a turbine goes down in a lightning storm, someone has to fix it fast, and that someone gets paid a premium most people never see in an entire year. You start getting phone calls at odd hours from dispatchers who know your name specifically, not just your job title, because a plant manager somewhere requested you by name after a repair you made months earlier held up perfectly through a brutal winter. You start to realize this career was never really about climbing towers. It was about becoming the person nobody else can replace. Level 4. You become a senior technician, and the machine that used to terrify you now feels like an extension of your own hands. This is the level where you stop being supervised and start training the technicians below you, the same shaking, scared version of yourself from level 1. You remember exactly how that felt, and now you are the one teaching someone else not to freeze on the ladder. Your salary climbs to somewhere between $80,000 and $95,000 a year. You are trusted with the most complex repairs, blade inspections using rope access techniques that put you dangling off the side of a blade with nothing but a rope and your own nerve holding you in place. You are troubleshooting control systems that cost more than most houses. Companies start flying you out for emergency repairs because you are one of the few people who can fix a specific gearbox fault without needing a manual. There is a moment at this level that sticks with almost every technician who reaches it. You are hanging off a blade at sunrise, hundreds of feet above a valley that just woke up beneath you, and for the first time the height does not feel like a threat. It feels like a view you earned. This is the level where the fear from level 1 has fully transformed into something else entirely. Confidence that was earned, not given. Level 5. You become a lead technician or crew chief, and now the responsibility shifts. It is no longer just about your own safety on the tower. It is about everyone below you coming home alive at the end of the shift. This is a heavier weight than any bolt you have ever torqued. You are the one who calls off a climb when the wind speed crosses a dangerous threshold, even when the client is furious about the delay, because you know what happens to a crew caught in a turbine during high wind. Your pay reaches somewhere around $100,000 to $115,000 a year. You are managing schedules, safety audits, and multi-million-dollar service contracts for entire wind farms. You are the person a plant manager calls at 2 in the morning when a turbine trips offline during a storm and revenue is bleeding by the minute. You start noticing something strange happening to you at this stage. New technicians look at you the exact same way you once looked at your own trainers, like you are unshakable, like fear never touched you. You know better, but you let them believe it because that belief is exactly what gets them through their own version of level 1. The pressure is constant, but so is the respect. You built this. Nobody handed it to you. Level 6. You step into a regional service manager or specialized technician role, and this is where the job starts to split into rare, elite territory. Some people go into offshore wind, which pays dramatically more because the danger and difficulty are dramatically higher. Working on a turbine in the middle of the ocean, accessible only by boat or helicopter, is a completely different level of intensity than anything on land. Your income climbs to somewhere between $130,000 and $160,000 a year, and offshore specialists can push even higher with hazard pay and travel premiums stacked on top. You are now the person other companies try to poach with signing bonuses, because there are far more turbines being built every single year than there are technicians qualified to service them at this level. Offshore work adds an entirely new layer of tension most land-based technicians never experience. You are transferred from a moving boat onto a ladder bolted to a turbine sitting in open water, timing your jump to the swell of the waves, knowing one bad step means the ocean instead of the ground. You realize the fear you felt on that 60-foot training tower years ago was the price of admission to one of the most in-demand skill sets on the planet. Level 7. You reach the top of the industry, director of operations for a wind energy company, or an independent specialist so respected that turbine manufacturers fly you across the world for the failures nobody else can solve. This is the technician who started as the shaking trainee and ended up designing maintenance protocols that entire companies now follow. At this level, total compensation regularly crosses $200,000 a year, and top independent offshore specialists and consultants can push toward $250,000 or more when you count hazard pay, travel premiums, and specialized contracts. You are no longer just fixing turbines. You are shaping how an entire industry keeps the lights on for millions of people. You get asked constantly by younger technicians what the secret was, expecting some shortcut, some trick that skipped the years of freezing rain and shaking hands in boats slamming against ladders in open water. There was no shortcut. There was only the version of you at level 1 who refused to climb back down. You started at the bottom of a tower with shaking hands and $35,000 a year. You end at the top of an industry that the entire world now depends on. That climb was never just physical. It was the whole story. If you made it this far, you already have the mindset it takes to climb something bigger than a turbine.